liftoff and the clock has started.
Frequencies open, everybody. Captain on the bridge. Maybe, maybe not. I could be a goal on, couldn't I? What a load of old nonsense. What is he talking about? I don't know. If they don't know, how am I supposed to know? Good to have you all here. Sit back and relax. It's the end of the weekend, but, you know, time, space, fantasy, science fiction. We can do it all over again, can't we? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Spacebook, the best channel that you'd never heard of. For more geeky, out there entertainment talk with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. Where am I? There I am. And my friends, a lean crew of top genre entertainment experts that we're going to get together. We're going to wrangle them all in a couple of minutes and talk about what's been going on this week in movies, TV, comics, and whatever else springs to mind, all chilled out style with them and with you, whoever you are. So let's check in with the live chat here on YouTube at the moment and see who's here, who's got nothing else better to do. Let's see what's going on. We've got the Darren Zone. No, we don't. We have Darren M. Oh dear, new time slot, new head. Yes, we've got Darren M who says howdy and hail to all. It was good to see that. And Peter Harrington back after. Yeah, Peter Harrington, who was so kind sending in some content for our big Doctor Who show the other night. That was brilliant. Good to have you back again, Peter. And hi. The classic 80s fanboy just stopped off from some mall in 1987. Hi all, just chomping on birthday. Peter, happy birthday to whoever's birthday. Is it your birthday? Every day is your birthday, isn't it? If you were constantly celebrating the 1980s. I'm just waiting for my internet to catch up, says David Mullen. I don't know what's going on, but presume if you can hear me, if you can see this video, see this track and these messages, then brilliant. Cybermat strikes. Hi, Spacebook. Hi, Cybermat. Is your name Matt? We need to know these things. Let us know if you can before the end of the show. Okay. It's a good chunk of people. Good to see you all. Keep the comments coming because we're going to want your input about some of this nonsense that we're going to drag out in front of the old blast shield. Who's first? Yeah, okay. Who's with me? Yeah, we're still waiting for one person, but in the meantime, while we wait for them, they probably had a big Sunday lunch. Who knows? We have two pop culture pundits that you'll probably be familiar with, certainly if you've been on this channel, and if you're anywhere near the Doctor Who community on YouTube, it's my mate Ian David Diaz and the rabbi from another planet himself, Spieler Betkin.
Oh, there you go. Ease us into it, baby. That's like Australian foreplay. Whoa, straight in there.
Right in there. Yeah, I was going to say something really rude then, but no, best not. Yes, good evening, guys. How are we both? All good?
All right.
Ready to get started?
Smithy. Like for me, it's not Sunday. For me, it's Monday. Right? Because in Israel, you don't get a Sunday. No, Sunday is basically the first day of the week, so it's like Monday in Israel.
So you're fully into your mode.
Not Saturday and Sunday.
That's good for you because you can get ahead. You're getting ahead with all the videos and stuff.
Oh, I was nearly getting ahead. Then I had that stupid David Tennant story I had to do a video on. Just annoyed the crap out of me.
My message box is pinging about that with both people within the Doctor Who community and people who aren't asking me.
Yeah, no, I had to do a bloody video on it. I had such a great plan. Right, I was going to do a live stream today. What?
There isn't any actual news.
Oh, really. No news. It's some bullcrap. Was it rumor that David Tennant has been cast as the 14th Doctor?
Oh, okay. So he'll regenerate back into David Tennant.
Yeah, and he'll stick as David Tennant for a couple of specials, and then they'll go to a new Doctor.
Oh, I see.
Apparently, the news is just that David Mullen has now arrived.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know what to think about. Let's gloss over that one, haven't we? And get stuck into the geeky news. A trailer has dropped in the last 12 hours, I believe. Now, if you remember, I spoke to both you guys the other day because I don't believe in New Year resolutions. I think you should make a resolution at any time of the year to suit you. And my resolution for last year was to just give up on Star Trek. It was bringing me no further pleasure in life. It was frustrating me to watch the new content. And so I just waved bye-bye to everything that Alex Kurtzman was involved with. But they have dropped a new trailer today, and I was fortunate enough to catch a bit of it. So I wondered if you guys had seen anything for the season 2 trailer for Picard, and has it stoked your dilithium crystals, or are you still out as well?
I'm out. I'm totally out. I don't want to watch this.
Crystals?
Why should I watch this? Seriously, why should I watch this? This is made by people who hate Star Trek. Why would any Star Trek fan watch this? It's absolute bollocks. I saw the trailer because I was on a live stream that I was on, and they showed the trailer on that live stream. That was the only way I would. Otherwise, I would never have watched this trailer. I have no interest.
Similar story with me. I was scrolling through Facebook, Rabbi. It was just automatically playing.
It just happened. I had to go and find it. I did it for this very stream. I did it, and I regret it. But listen, Mega Geek. It may seem crazy to you if somebody gets a baseball bat and smacks himself repeatedly in the bollocks, right?
Yeah.
That might be weird to you, right? You might go, "What? Why are you doing that?" I guarantee you, there's a website there just for that. There are people who like I don't get it either. Okay, like I don't know how you would like Star Trek and like this or Star Trek Next Generation. I'll tell you what though, they are screwed beyond screwed because they're starting off with losing 40% of their audience because they didn't gain it in season 1. Everybody tuned in and say, "Oh look, it's Picard. He's old and doddery. Don't give a shit." The tuning in factor is over on season 2. Nobody gives a shit. I mean, I can't even believe that Amazon bought it. I mean,
I know we're all going to get older, and Patrick Stewart has had a long and distinguished career, and he's been fantastic in this part. He was iconic in this part, but I find it quite difficult to watch him play Picard now. And
you know what?
That's on top of the material.
I think the reason why they actually put this on again is because it's all about numbers now. It's all about content and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It doesn't. The ratings don't matter. Star Trek Discovery is getting season 5. The ratings don't matter. It's volume. Never mind the quality, fill the width. That's 100% what it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of quality, we've got another quality combatant here about to join the arena. It's our mate Matt Swapshop about to beam in. Let's see what he's got to say. I can't remember if you're a Trekkie or not, Matt. Where do you stand on Star Trek, mate? Happy New Year.
Hello, fellas. Happy New Year to you all. Oh my God, I saw the trailer for this for the first time last night.
Yeah.
And the cringe is real with it, isn't it? Really. I think it's just got to be
deep cringe.
I think it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be more style over substance. Yeah. And it's kind of a bit of an affront to everything that I regard as Star Trek, really, because I'm a massive Next Gen fan, and I loved Voyager. And
this is going to be painful. What it is a bunch of member berries strung together by people who don't like them or understand them, and it's awful. I just can't with the shaky of the card, like Patrick Stewart. Just shut up, you know. That's what I want to say. Patrick, just go away. In fact, let's recast Picard, and you know who should play him? Chris Pine. Chris Pine. And he can be Picard too. He should be all the captain. He could be Janeway next.
It's so crazy. It may even work.
There was a scene in the trailer where he joins Guinan at the bar, and I was expecting to see I was expecting to see the other girls from the View sitting next to her. There's no one.
Don't rule it out.
Put it past I wouldn't put it past them. Darren M is watching on YouTube, and he says, "How can they make this drivel still? New Trek is no Trek." Peter Harrington, he's just watched the end of Voyager on the Horror Channel, but that's still good. I think Voyager has definitely increased in quality in hindsight, hasn't it? When you look at this stuff, and the classic 80s.
I know. I think when you got to the last season of Voyager, it was a bit like falling. Voyager was at its best when they did was a Year of Hell. Year of Hell was the peak of Voyager. That's when it got, and then it was downhill from there. But basically, that was the peak.
I think Robert Payne sums it up quite well here, Ian. I mean, I know that you. I don't know if you. I can't quite remember if you stood the course with season 1 of Picard.
I did.
Robert mentions that they killed off Picard, but still expect us to be interested in another Picard series.
They don't care. They do not care if you're interested. Okay, they don't care. That you got to keep on. You got to understand it. They don't care if you watch it. They don't care if you don't. They don't care if anybody watches it. Right? This is just volume to sell to Netflix or Apple or Amazon. Right? Yeah. That's all it is. All it is. It's just space.
Bureaucracy, mate. That's what it is.
It's about
no passion, nothing for the fans at all. It's just
It's about how much they've got on their channel, just like distributors as well. Distributors don't care about the films they buy. All they care about is numbers. So when other TV stations come to them and say, look how many films we got. Oh, they must be good. That kind of thing. But the channels are different. It's about numbers, and it's about, obviously, like, for instance, what is it? Boba Fett is there so that people could see, oh, yeah, they got loads of stuff on Disney Channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're trying to make people subscribe.
It's a policy.
Yeah.
It's all
about subscribing.
It's a short-term policy because it's not going to work much longer. I mean, that's why I think Russell Davies is reasonably clever, because I think the next iteration in this business, front, will be not content, but content that attracts viewers and doesn't repel viewers. Right?
The old-fashioned way.
But
I really don't think
when they were talking about spinning off of Discovery, which seems ridiculous a proposition in itself, but when they were talking about a series about Section 31 and Starfleet Academy and all these other things, these pretty lame, thin concepts. Star Trek is a thick concept for a TV show, and these things just sound thinner and thinner. Then I completely agree with you about it did seem to be like content for content's sake. Mm-hmm. But to put a character, they really got under my radar with Picard, because Patrick Stewart's an actor of such integrity, decades and decades. It's
no, he's not.
Huge body of
not
work.
anymore.
So I thought, well, he would not be involved in anything that wasn't fit for purpose, that wasn't literate. But how wrong was I? I think this is what you would term as garbage tier sci-fi, but they've got a world-class Shakespearean actor bang in the centre of it, who we recognise from other shows, which lent it that feeling of authenticity, which meant that I gave it the time of day, and now I feel like really, really stupid. But at least I don't feel as stupid as the family of this fella probably do. Yes, they're probably wondering, the Roddenberry family are probably wondering what the hell is going on with Star Trek. I would imagine there's a big payday in it for a couple of them. And
it's their fault. It's what's his name? The grandson who's in charge of it. He was one of the first people to introduce this identity politics over story as a model.
Well, I think they only own. They don't own. Oh God, I've forgotten where it lies now. The situation with them and Star Trek, with Roddenberry's and Star Trek, is very similar to the situation between the Terry Nation State and Blake Seven, because everybody thinks that the Terry Nation State completely owns Blake Seven, lock, stock, and barrel. It doesn't. The BBC owns part of it, and it's the same. It's a similar kind of setup with Star Trek. So, how can I put this? If Roddenberry's object, Paramount can still make whatever Star Trek that they like. I can't remember the ins and outs of it, so I best not say on a live stream. But it's worth looking into. It's quite,
they don't object. They like it.
I think it can be sweetened with some of the old folding stuff, but then again, that's almost always the case. I'm not remotely interested in anything apart from Strange New Worlds, heaven help me, but we've got several months until I can come to my senses about that, because I know that there's no real reason why that should be any better than anything we've got before. Mm-hmm. But I feel that they're still talking the talk about, but Ian, they're still talking the talk about. Their intention is to deliver us in Strange New World. No, listen to me. They intend on delivering to us an episodic sci-fi show with an old school sensibility. Now, they could be lying. Let's face it. There's been plenty of liars in genre fiction that have exposed themselves in the last couple of years. but this is their very last chance with me, and
But
I may be being foolish. Yeah, I agree.
No, but listen, it doesn't matter what they say, right? The fact of the matter is, if you watch this show, you are supporting the people that destroyed Star Trek. I couldn't care less how good that show is. It'd probably be as good, even if it's freaking better than Star Wars, the original Star Wars, I will not watch it because they've literally destroyed Star Trek. Now, I understand why the rabbi has to watch it to review for his show. Yeah, that I understand that. But ordinary fans, I'm sorry, I do not understand why you want to keep going back, hitting your head against a brick wall, moan, groan, and then wonder why there's another series comes out.
Well, that's the reason why I'm not watching Picard or Discovery. I haven't watched Prodigy, which may have been an error. I've heard nothing but good things
Actually, I have to tell you, that wasn't bad. That's the only one that wasn't bad. I'm
I don't watch Lower Decks. I don't watch Lower Decks anymore. It turns out that I have heard constantly good things about Star Trek Prodigy. P.D. Rich is watching here and says, I've got a theory about Star Trek universe. They're all patients in the Federation Funny Farm, and the very few grounded characters are simply the psychiatrists and the doctors there, and adds that Rod Roddenberry changed the licensing agreement with Star Trek Universe and is a massive collaborator now.
Exactly. He's into this woke shit. He's super into it.
I see. Interesting. But there is one project that I wanted to bring to your attention because it's not actually going to be made by Kurtzman at all. So this is we're going back to Gene Roddenberry. Okay, I wonder if you'd heard about this. This is an upcoming biopic of Gene Roddenberry that's in the planning stages. Of course, Gene Roddenberry was the original creator of Star Trek. He was born in 1921 and died in 1991, so just over 30 years ago. Writer and television film producer who was executive producer of Star Trek, and really suffered the slings and the arrows while he was putting that show together. In the 70s, had a terrible time, pretty much out in the wilderness before kind of coming back into the studio system and receiving a massive payout for his troubles in the 80s to return to Star Trek and sit at the middle of The Next Generation when that was first launched. So Roddenberry's been dead just over 30 years. He was a big man who led a colourful life in pretty much every respect, his personal life and his business life. And the plan is that there is going to be a full-length feature about his life. That it's going to be it's going to be produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Specifically, that's now under as Peter Richard, that's now under the guardianship of Rod Roddenberry. So it's going to be a family project that's completely separate from Paramount. So I wondered if this interests you guys, because I think that Gene Roddenberry is a fascinating figure.
He is. Agreed.
Yeah, but it's going to be it's by the Roddenberry. It's going to be it's not going to be warts and all. It's not going to be realistic. It's going to be.
Not if it's made by Roddenberry, I suppose.
Exactly. It's going to be. Okay. So it's going to be like that movie that Disney did about. What's that movie they made?
About Saving Mr. Banks, about Mary Poppins and Walt Disney. Mary
Poppins, right. So the true story is they hounded this poor woman to death to get the rights to. There's nothing like that movie at all, right? It's like they did every dirty thing to get her to sign, and she held out for a while. And then they had Tom Hanks play Walt Disney. No. So listen. Have you ever read Harlan Ellison's City on the Edge of Forever script book?
I've read the comic book version of it.
Okay, so I'm talking about. He does this essay at the beginning, goes on for a long time, tearing Roddenberry apart, like you think he lied about this, and just really ripping him apart. So it is true. He managed to make the first modern science fiction TV show. It was first science sci-fi show that wasn't for children. It went from Lost in Space to Star Trek, and that was a huge jump, right? But I'll be interested to see a Waltz and All documentary. If they did a movie like the McDonald's movie. Do you see the
with Michael Keaton?
Yeah, that was great because you got a feeling he was not such a great guy. It was a bit if they could do it like that, I might be interested.
The thing is, though, I think Gene Roddenberry, like for instance, when I was making Star Trek: The Motion Picture, his ideas were terrible for that film.
Oh yes,
and
they
they were even worse than the way the film turned out. Anyway, as far as I was concerned. But I mean, he created a really good concept, and it was. And I hate to say this, as far as I know, as far as I can piece together all the things that I know about Roddenberry, he created the concept. He was responsible for the TV series. He wanted the TV series to go more serious, but it's obviously the audience liked a bit more comedy in it. But he was fighting against that as well. Then when it came to the movie, he was fighting against them because he wanted something completely different. And I had to call in Alan. Do you know what I mean? So he was the creator, but it was like he didn't know what was good for the actual thing itself, if you know what I mean. That's the thing. That's what I got.
I think there was a series in his head that he wanted to make. I mean, he knew. I think he knew that it was always going to be an uphill battle. Somebody in the chat asked a couple of minutes ago, what did he do? Did he write much before? Mostly unsold things. I mean, he did run a series called The Lieutenant, a standard police drama. In fact, that was where he met DeForest Kelley. We can now see that on screen on the right. There's Gene and DeForest on the set of the Lieutenant, I believe that was. And that ran for 2 or 3 years, a standard police show. But that was, I believe, where we started to bring through ideas and scripts which weren't crime of the week style stories. And I think that was where he first started to butt heads with studio executives. But undoubtedly, if it wasn't for Lucille Ball and to a lesser extent her husband Desi Arnaz, Star Trek would never have been made. But that's another story. It's a fascinating story that if they did tell it, if they were able to not exactly put aside family loyalty, but if it could be warts and all, I think that's the only real viable way to tell Gene Roddenberry's story. I'd certainly love to see it. But I was wondering, have you got any inclinations about who could play the big man, who could play the great bird of the galaxy? Any ideas there, Matt?
Good grief, that's something I've never thought about. I'm sure there's a lot of decent actors out there that could achieve it. I think
Matt Black.
There are a lot of
Matt Black could do it.
When I was a kid, that would have fitted, but
Jack Black.
They've all sadly passed on.
Not Jack Black. Is it Jack Black?
Give us some examples, Matt.
The King Kong movie.
Oh,
wait, what's the name of the guy for that?
Jack Black.
Yeah,
it's Jack Black. That's what I said. You could do it.
You didn't. You said Matt Black.
I meant to say Jack Black. Thank you.
He might work, actually. Yeah, he might work. That might be a viable option. Yeah.
Yeah, he might do. He might work, but as I said,
and there's also what's his name from Moneyball, and
I know you mean.
What's his name?
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Yeah.
But you know what you call it? They've made a Lucille Ball movie with who stars as Lucille Ball?
Isn't it Nicole Kidman? Yeah.
She played Princess Di, and that didn't work. So I'm pretty sure this one's not going to work with her playing.
The perfect actress to play the Tremors movies. She played the wife of the gun guy. I can't remember his name.
Right. I think she's dead.
She better not be, but yeah, I think she was perfect in that.
I think I have. I've been thinking about this for a couple of months because they announced plans to make this film a few months ago. Whenever it was the 100th anniversary of Gene Roddenberry's birth, so it was around August, September time. And I've been thinking about it ever since, and it suddenly dawned on me this week. So I would cast. So if you look at Gene's face there, bless him. He was a big man, as a lot of coppers used to be back then. And I think I found the perfect bloke. I'd cast 37-year-old. Yeah, so Gene Roddenberry would have been 1920. He'd have been around 40 when he was putting Star Trek together. I would cast the actor Zachary Levi from Shazam as Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah,
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah,
I knew you'd say that.
Like
What's that? He's thinking, what? But
there's a lot of prosthetics.
But take a look at this. Hang on. Yeah. There we are. Is that?
But I mean, he's
Gene Roddenberry, isn't it?
He's a couple of pounds lighter, though, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He needs
a couple of pounds. I mean, that's a lot of latex he's going to have to put on there.
I think he's a little fatter in the face.
Thor. He played somebody fat in Thor, didn't he?
I don't know. Did he?
Look here. Look up Zachary Levi 4. He's one of the
was under a lot
warrior
of prosthetics in that.
Right. So you can do the same thing.
I saw a clip from, and I don't know where it came from. It was on YouTube. A clip from they were doing the Robin Williams story, and they got this guy to play Robin Williams when he was doing Mork and Mindy, and he looked like Robin Williams, and he sounded like Robin Williams. And I was like, bloody hell, that was good casting. Lord knows who they cast as this fella, though.
Most disturbing real life casting ever was Gillian Anderson as Margaret Thatcher. Because
we know you've said this.
Exactly like Margaret Thatcher, right? Exactly. She felt like Gillian Anderson. I don't know what to tell you.
But
hold on.
The best when you get the horn for Maggie Thatcher, isn't it?
Exactly. The best casting ever to cast a real life person was Fox when he played Ray Charles. That was spot on casting. He looked like him. He sounded 100%. Like him.
Yeah.
He played the music like him. It was bloody brilliant.
Moved like him.
Moved like him.
Yeah, he inhabited him. Although, I have to tell you, what's his name? Will Smith doing Muhammad Ali.
Rubbish.
Rubbish. Wasn't bad. In places wasn't bad.
Awful. Nothing like it.
In places there were bits where he really sold it.
I'm sort of with the rabbi. I think that was the film and not Will that was wrong.
Will was completely wrong for that role. This is my pet hate. I hate it when they do biographies of people and they look nothing like the person because that guy's a star. They put like Nicole Kidman as Princess Di. Was it Princess Di she played? That was freaking awful. Freaking awful.
I can't remember.
It was just bad. It was just bad. Come on.
I liked whoever they got for The Crown, which is also coming back soon, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Crown, I think they're on a little delay, aren't they, because of the coronavirus? But apparently.
Oh man, they could only do a 2022 Crown. But they're never going to do that.
The next one's going to be about the prince formerly known as Andrew. I think that's what the next one's going to be about.
No, they could have been clear of that. Okay, can I ask you both a question? We're on a bit of a free-fall thing. Okay, it seems to me that from Prince Andrew's point of view, if you used to Prince, from his point of view, this young, attractive woman appeared to be presented to him who wanted to have sex with him and then did, right? He did. It seemed like from his perspective, it seemed like he was just sleeping with somebody who was up for it. Right?
No, but we don't know that, though.
And all those things are happening, I understand. But unless she said, no, I don't want to, then I don't know why he's in trouble. I really don't.
But
I've got to be honest. I mean, with this court case now ongoing, we can't talk about it on YouTube. But seriously, anyway, I have no idea really about any of it, so I couldn't even give you.
You've not seen a documentary, Dan?
Not seen a single thing about it.
I've seen a documentary.
It's good.
I sincerely don't know. I didn't even know who Mr. Jeffrey was until relatively recently. It just sounded like more Hollywood scumbags doing more Hollywood scumbag things. And the first time I heard anything about it was when Ricky Gervais did the Golden Globes thing.
Yeah.
And he mentioned him, and I think I looked it up. So it all seems quite. I'm sure that when it comes out,
what about Bel Air? What about Bel Air? Why? Bel Air
TV show.
Why? It's all I can say. Why?
The new Fresh Prince is what you think.
Yeah, why? Why make that?
I've never seen the original show, so I'm the wrong person.
Oh, really?
The original's great. The original's pretty good.
Never seen it. But when I saw the trailer for the new one, when I saw the trailer for the new one, to me, as somebody who's never seen the original show, that looked like a okay TV show. I don't think
it's a film, is it not?
I don't think it's a TV show. I don't think I would watch it, but it seems like a quality show. I would ask who the audience for it is, because it can't be Fresh Prince of Bel Air fans, because it is so radically different. It's not even a comedy.
It's being made because it's a black-led entertainment show. It's not drama, comedy, because it's black-led. That's it. That's the only reason, right? And it's one of the few that they had that they didn't have to change the main character. They can't bring back the Cosby Show. So this is the next.
Who says they can't?
We're going to go from
The
one.
Crosby Salmon special. Could you not? They should do that with puppets.
From one bombshell to another, we're gonna steer away from controversial topics, or are we? Because for some people, this is just as contentious. I wondered if you'd seen, because Amazon Prime this week, they have officially revealed the title of this long-awaited Lord of the Rings TV show. I think it's been filming for about 3 years. It's already going to be the most expensive TV show that's ever been made. It's set for all you Lord of the Rings fans out there who are steeped in this stuff. You know, I've got the book here. That's everything in there. I'm sort of on page 5 or whatever. For everybody who knows it inside out, this is apparently going to be set. Going to make sure I get this right. It's going to be set in the Middle Earth's second age, a millennia before the events of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Are you paying attention, Matt? Do you know what any of this means?
It's basically the Rise of Sauron, right?
I have no idea.
I think he said Matt.
Yeah, I want to know what.
I think he said Matt.
Because I know that Matt is a clever person who reads. You see, so I wanted to know what you thought and what. When I've just described that they're set in the Middle Earth Second Age, does that mean anything to you?
My knowledge of the prehistory of Middle Earth is minimal at best, I think. But as far as I'm aware, I know people that are knowledgeable about it, and they're not impressed from what they know so far about this. I think it's already they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with this intro little teaser that they released, because it was a lot of people thought it was CG, and turns out it's actually practical effects, which is good. But the problem is that they're just mimicking Game of Thrones straight away. They are. It's just straight Game of Thrones. They didn't think about using imagination and trying anything original or different at all. They just thought, oh, let's just get down the Game of Thrones route because that's the tried and tested one. That's the one that's fresh in everyone's minds, and we'll get the Lord of the Rings fans on board as soon as they see something that's the Game of Thrones people on board. As soon as they see something similar on TV, they'll just latch onto it and watch it like brainless goons. You know, that's the kind of attitude behind it.
Probably not that far wrong, though, are they?
Well,
yeah. Good luck with the Star Trek stuff, boys. Yeah. Good luck.
Well, they know.
If it's
they know
not
that
good, people won't watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's got enough of a pull to make people watch it. Especially Game of Thrones fans. Game of Thrones fans are so incredibly burnt. This to me has a potential. Have you seen the movie Don't Look Up?
Yeah,
You've recommended that to me, and I haven't.
So essentially, there's this cell phone company like similar to Amazon that tries to deal with this like world-ending disaster, and it's a disaster, right? It's going to be a disaster before they did it. I get the same sort because it's just the insane hubris and inefficiency going simultaneously in these companies. They have huge hubris and huge inefficiency, and the hubris makes them overlook their inefficiency. So this has already spent 200 million on it, 300 million. Yeah. Good luck. It's like if they will be lucky. They will be lucky to.
I think basically what it is that their talent doesn't factor into anything now. Whatever they make the TV or film, and it's a shame really because there's a wealth of talent out there. What they want to do is they want to take something from the past or take something that was popular and then kind of redo it and then bring it out there with the people who don't have any talent at all. And this is a prime example of that, spending a crap load of money on something people don't want to see, or the idiots that will watch it.
Well, the thing that strikes me with some franchise, I think there are some franchises out there that are sleeping giants, that where there is a fan base that's crying out for more, particularly Stargate. The Stargate fans are positively, they feel proper out in the cold that every other franchise seems to have multiple shows, and Stargate is sort of drifting into the TV past. With Lord of the Rings, I have never felt this, and I know a lot of people who are into both the literature and the movie universe, and none of them have said, I wish they'd make more Lord of the Rings. I wish there was Lord of the Rings TV show. So I do wonder, exactly as you said, Ian, does anybody actually really want this? I think when any studio talks about this is the most expensive TV show ever made, then of course people who have followed the genre for 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to need to sample it at the very, very least. But it's difficult to be enthusiastic about it. And when I saw the title revealed, it was a lot more bland than I was expecting. So it's actually going to be called The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. And it sounds like some sort of mobile game, some app game. Really strange. We've got a couple of quotes here, Matt, from the showrunners. The showrunners of this are J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. And it said that the title was one that...
before these days.
Well, they've defended the title, and it says, we imagine that this title could live on the spine of a book that would sit next to J.R.R. Tolkien's other classics. And so not big talk at all, not setting themselves a high bar to live up to in the slightest there.
No.
It's hubris and inefficiency. Hubris and inefficiency. But the two go together, right? Because you can only screw up so much without feeling bad if you have a real view of reality. But if you're full of your own ego, full of your own hubris, you can screw up as much as you like, and it's going to be really bad. It's going to be a game of people get it, but that's about it.
I get the feeling that they're making these shows like this one as a prime example, just to push the old woke crap into it, and that's the only reason why they make it. Yeah,
you have to wonder about those things because of timing. I mean, I think that there was, I can't remember who it was, whether it was New Line. There was talk of a Lord of the Rings TV show a few years ago, before what they now call the streaming wars. Before that took off, I can't quite remember what the handle was on it, but I know that there was talk about doing something, but they couldn't find an angle that would work. And I believe that Commons in some way along the line, and they started to wonder if there was anybody who actually wanted this. They've attracted quite a big cast, mostly of names that I don't recognise, but there are British talent like Lloyd Owen, Megan Richards, and Slenny Henry involved.
Of course,
in this.
they're going to attract names, aren't they? Because they're not working. That's the thing. And of course, they're going to attract names because look at the budget of this thing. They're going to attract any kind of name. Any actor that's in Hollywood now, right? They all gravitating towards all these shows because there's nothing out there. There's absolutely nothing out there. And when there are things out there, it doesn't get noticed. Can you name me one film that won the Oscar last year? I can't. Do you know what I mean? As I said, that's how low films have gone.
Nobody gives a damn.
Nobody cares.
At one time I used to know.
Nobody noticed. Like, literally
Exactly. So we're in a different world here when it comes to entertainment by film and TV.
Isn't this starring Russell Crowe?
Russell
I have
Crowe.
no idea.
Not that I know of. I think Russell Crowe has signed up for some TV show, but I don't think it's this one.
I think he signed up for a couple more burgers. He's getting bigger, that fella, isn't he? Bloody hell!
He is involved in something, and I can't remember what it is. I mean, one thing I did like about this trailer, it's a teaser for a teaser for a teaser, really, is the fact that it was all done, and they've said, it was all achieved with mostly practical effects. There was very little computer graphics in that trailer that they put out, which. Obviously, because Peter Jackson and that whole world that he created, Ian, it filmed in New Zealand. They're filming this in New Zealand in some of the same locations. So hopefully it'll look like it belongs to the screened universe as we've seen it so far.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of practical effects in New Zealand.
Well, I just, there's no need for this. We need new stuff. We need new stuff. We need to create new stuff for this era. Yeah. That's what we need to do. We keep going backwards all the time. As much as I loved Spider-Man No Way Home, you can't replicate that again. It's been done now, the member berry thing and going back. You can't do it.
I mean, the way to go forward when they went forward last time, like in the 80s, right? The 80s was a real push forward in cinema. And they did that by trying to, I think so, yeah. Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, Star Wars. It was like Star Wars 77. That Zygest is what I'm talking about, right? Steven Spielberg, that kind of. But they pushed it forward essentially by analyzing the things that they loved as a kid and recreating them as their own entity. Like Indiana Jones was Doc Savage. Indiana Jones was those Republic serials, right? That's what they need to do today. Like, do what you love when you were a kid, but do it fresh and new. Take what you love and make
in their defense. In their defense, though, guys, I agree with everything you say. Robert Payne here, watching the chat, mentions that the trouble with prequels is that people know what's going to happen by the end, and of course that's true. And you could say that we ultimately know the fate of this universe, this fictional universe, don't we, Matt? I think with them setting this series where they are, they view it that they've got all this scope, all these millennia, to kind of distance us from everything that comes afterwards in a narrative way, and build a world within a world. Is that feasible? Is that feasible at all?
I think, well, it is possible. I don't know if they're intelligent enough to do it, but before Disney bought Star Wars out, the production team behind Knights of the Old Republic games did a very, very good job of extending and expanding on the lore behind that entire universe. And that was set like several thousand years before the Star Wars that we knew. So it's like there's enough time to have its own continuity almost, and not really be affected by the films and the events and what happened. So they could do it in a similar way. The problem is, I just don't think these people are smart enough to do this. And I think
they're not.
No,
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
You're 100% correct.
You know what, guys? I went to see, and I think I've told Dan this. I went to see a stage play called "The Shark Is Broken." The reason why I mention this is because so basically The Shark Is Broken is about the three actors that was in Jaws, and Robert Shaw's son plays Robert Shaw in the play, right? It's a comedy, right? So it's basically the dynamic between Richard Dreyfuss and Roy Schneider and Robert Shaw, right? And Robert Shaw's son looks exactly like Robert Shaw in the movie. So, but the reason why I bring this up is because there's this line in it where he says, "There's no damn way they're going to make a sequel to this movie? No damn way." And then Richard Dreyfuss says, "Yeah, I'm not going to star in it." And Roy Schneider says, "Yeah, I'm not going to star in it." And then Robert Shaw says, "There's going to be a sequel, then there's going to be a sequel to a sequel, then a sequel to a sequel." And he goes, "It's not going to stop. It's just going to be sequels. And the whole audience just kill themselves laughing. And that is what's happening today, isn't it? They can't can't stop at one. They have to just keep going all the time. So, but anyway, I recommend it. If you ever get the chance to see The Shark Is Broken, you should watch it. So.
I think I'll wait for them to turn it into a film. The Lord of the Rings
output right now is like that.
The Lord of the Rings of Power. They assure us that the most expensive TV show ever made will debut on Amazon Prime from September the 2nd. New episodes will appear on a weekly basis, so it's not going to all drop at once. That could well be the big show of the autumn. I think everybody will be talking about it. However good or bad it is. A little before then, in March, we have this coming from Disney and from Marvel, and the very first official poster ahead of a trailer, which I think is coming tomorrow. Yeah. Have you seen this? This is for Moon Knight.
I saw the trailer. It's out. The trailer's out.
Was a full trailer out?
Full trailer.
I heard that it was a teaser trailer, and the full trailer drops tomorrow. That was
the trailer was like 2 minutes long. How could they? If they put any more in it, it's an episode.
I could be completely wrong. So what do you? Well, I saw this on Facebook. What do you think?
This trailer
having a bit of a break. I think it looks pretty good as well. I've always been sold on this. I think Oscar Isaac looks perfect for the role. I've always loved the character. I like the fact that it seems like a hybrid of the things that have worked in the comics over the years. So, do you think that this year they could pull a bit back on the old MCU there, Rabbi?
I think he's gone to the toilet.
What do you think, Ian? Because you, just like me, you watched a lot of those TV shows last year. You had just as much of a hard time as I did with them. Could this pull it back?
I like the trailer, but unfortunately, I'm not going to watch until somebody says it's good, because I don't trust Disney. I do not trust Marvel anymore. I'm telling you, right? It's so painful when you watch something like the first episode of say Hawkeye, or the first episode of was it WandaVision, whatever, and you just sit there and you go, oh no. The last straw for me was Boba Fett. It was just a waste of my time.
Which episode killed your Boba Fett?
Well, all so far. But the ones with the shiny bikes killed it for me. The ones with the shiny bikes killed it for me. It was just
I quite like the second episode, but everything else, really not good.
What do you reckon, Matt? Moon Knight.
You know what? The trailer's not bad.
Yeah.
But then trailers are supposed to be kind of like the thing to pull you in, and they're supposed to be the attract sequence, and the thing that hooks you. So they're always going to look good. They're always going to cherry pick the best things, that look great, and things are taken out of context. Unfortunately, I don't have any confidence in Disney to do this character or its legacy justice at all. But I mean, there's always hope because of recent quality Marvel output such as the Spider-Man movie, but as far as TV shows go, I don't think they've really done a decent one at all. They've all been heavily flawed. And the thing that put me off this trailer were the terrible British accents.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Threw me off, and I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to wait until if this gets a pass from everyone else I follow online that reviews it for everyone else, so you don't have to kind of thing. You don't have to watch it. Then I probably will go back and watch it. But if it's the quality of at least say Superman and Lois, then I'll give it a shot. Put it that way.
It's a sophisticated concept, isn't it, Matt? And then this character, I think that they've probably done the right thing in taking this character to television. But the nature of streaming means that, I mean, what certificates do they issue certificates to any of these shows? Because I get the impression that they don't, and that's why some of them are so bland. I mean, Hawkeye, a prime example, didn't have any edge. I think there were virtues to that show, but it was never as good as it could have been because it felt it had no edge. It was a shame with Hawkeye. I think it would be a travesty with this.
Yeah.
Well, right. I was going to say the only real hope with this is Disney have got scared by their relentless failure. Now the question is, did they start making?
They're not scared.
They're not, are they? Did they start making this before they started to relentlessly fail? And I don't think they did. However, the trailer looks like a real different take. So far, everything in the Phase 4, and I'm not counting Spider-Man because that was a Sony movie, and Sony wanted to make money, right? Do not count Spider-Man as a Phase 4 movie. Everything that's in Phase 4 has been very, very clearly women are the most important thing in the universe, and men are wiki. But yeah, that's basically it. I didn't get that vibe from the trailer at all.
No, so, maybe they've got wise to it. Well, we can't put the woke stuff in the trailer. We'll just leave it for the actual show. We'll sneak in, all that sort of stuff in the second.
Like normally
I did it with He-Man.
Yeah,
I did twice.
Yeah, so there you go.
Evan Smith, I still haven't forgiven you, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. Sunraider Custom is watching on YouTube and notes that Moon Knight does look good, but it's Disney, so I'm worried.
Yep.
PD Rich says, I thought it was Hollywood law that British actors had to play British people, not Isaacs doing an impression of Neil from The Young Ones. Oh, God. Yeah. Paul Murray, good to see you back again, Paul. Says, liked Loki. WandaVision was hard work. Not sure about Hawkeye. So he's a little bit more on the fence. Peter Harrington says that the Batman 1989 was done better around the symbol. Yeah, big fan of Batman 89. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of people are here too. Speaking of which,
that would be a great TV show.
It would, wouldn't it?
Like they recast it, but basically do a TV show or miniseries, Batman 89.
But also, what's going against Moon Knight is that he's known by people who read comics and stuff, but he's not a very popular character. He's not a household name character. So that's what's going to go against it. The trick is to play that to a strength, though. The trick is to take that and seize it and turn it to your advantage and create, because the same could have been said about multiple other characters that have actually boomed in the last 20 years. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Iron Man, for example. Iron Man was a second string character.
But do you know that what made Iron Man? It was Robbie Downey Jr. that made Iron Man. So if you read the Iron Man comics, he's nowhere as charismatic as Robbie Downey Jr. Right? It was the Robbie Downey Jr.'s version of Tony Stark that made Iron Man work for the movies.
In the comics, he's quite stoic, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah. So that was good casting right there. Even though the company didn't want him.
Had to fight for Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, he did. He did.
That drug background.
Yeah.
And it really didn't bring around.
So Isaacs, he played Poe, didn't he, in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Did you not? Yeah. So hopefully Moonlight, he wouldn't be up against a purple-headed woman Otherwise, he'd get slapped down, beaten up, and shot by a princess. So there you go.
Cut deep for a long time.
Exactly.
Matt Strikes has answered the eternal question. His name's not Matt. It's Dan. And Dan's a great name. I completely agree. Good to have you back with us. People comparing notes, talking here about Batman 89 and Batman 66 too. Lots of flashbacks to the good and the great of superhero films past, which does bring us nightly. We're going to step over to the blue corner of the comics universe now for, it's the bat symbol again, everybody. The bat symbol.
Wow.
This is the new Batman movie, which is actually not called Batman. It's called The Flash. And that's out. All right. That's out later in the year. Of course, this film stars Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, aka The Flash, who, with the best one in the world, Ezra, you have sort of won me round after all these years, but nobody's talking about him. They're all talking about Michael Keaton coming back to the role of Bruce Wayne Batman as the older Batman in this that we first met in the Batman 89 film. We are gradually getting there. It's nearly coming, but by the time this film arrives, will we know too much about it, Ian?
Yeah, but in the trailer, there's like 4 different versions of Ezra Miller, isn't there?
Yeah.
In the trailer, it says 4 different versions of him right in there. And I'm like, well, do I really want to see this film? I'm like, maybe I'll catch it when it actually comes on streaming. Because
I think you want to see it less now that you've seen Spider-Man No Way.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I want to see Michael Keaton back as Batman. He's going to be awesome. Not so happy about the way they're portraying Supergirl in this film because she looks really. No disrespect to lesbians out there, but Supergirl looks like a lesbian. Put it that way. What can I say?
Yeah, she's the Supergirl from the Injustice universe, the console games. Which I'm not a gamer. I don't particularly like this version of Supergirl either.
What I find is really, really horrible is that where the women are allowed to look at men as a sexual object. Thor. I can go on forever about how many sexual objects men in movies, but we're not allowed to have a good-looking Supergirl.
Very true.
You know what I mean? It makes no sense to me.
If we are going to have an attractive blonde all-American Supergirl, can we have 2 of them and have them be lesbian? I think that way we're all fine, right? We appreciate it. All the demographics are tick the boxes. We're all okay.
Well, the thing is, it's one thing not to have an attractive Supergirl, but I want to ask you guys, because we're in the DC corner now, and of course we do have, in the grand tradition, over the decades, we've not had that many Batgirls, but the ones that we have been ridiculously sexy, particularly Yvonne Craig. Yvonne Craig in the 1966 show, absolutely gorgeous woman. Alicia Silverstone, she's a bit of a forgotten star of the 90s now.
She wasn't all that.
She was fit as Batgirl. Okay, she went off the boil the minute she took the catsuit off.
I think her career kind of went off the boil then as well.
It did a bit,
I'm a big fan of this character, the Barbara Gordon version of Batgirl, and some of the other ones. I read all the Cassandra Cain stuff, not so much on the Stephanie Brown version of the character, but there's a lot of scope for Batgirl, and I've been really keen to see her brought to the screen. And we finally got a look at who's this that's playing Batgirl. I always forget. It's
Batgirl.
She is. She isn't Caucasian. It's okay. So this is a new Batgirl in live action. We've had the first picture of her this week. This is Leslie Grace, who's playing Batgirl in a HBO TV movie. This is her in costume now, guys.
Has she overcome a double mastectomy for some reason?
Oh God! You know what? This so pees me off. Right, Batgirl's going to be this gorgeous woman. Right, the way they draw in the comics, she looks athletic, she has the boobs, she has the legs, whatever, and stuff like that, But what they've done here, they've put her in jeans, they've given her a jacket from Primark, slap her what is it, bat sign on there, and give her a cape. Jesus, come on. You expect young men to watch this show? Sexy, how can you expect people
if you
to watch
find that
this
sexy,
show?
you may be Gary Glitter. That's all I'm saying.
You see, how I feel about a lot of this stuff, Matt, is that when we see pictures, because this isn't the first time we've seen Leslie in costume, there's been a few cheeky pictures taken on set, and you think, okay, this isn't lit right, it's not staged, It's not going to look very good. It's not how it's going to look on screen. But this is an officially released photograph from Warner Brothers.
A promo shot, yeah.
Yeah, it's an actual promo shot. So I feel that we can judge based on this. And I have to agree with what the guys have said. What do you think about this?
Yeah, as soon as I saw this, I follow a decent amount of cosplayers online because I've done some of that myself. So we'll swap tips on construction and stuff, and a lot of them look way better than this for a fraction of the cost, of making this outfit probably. But that's not really the issue. The issue is the fact that they've just blatantly race swapped her. And she's not a redhead anymore, even though her hair kind of looks a bit auburn. But that's crazy if she's sort of a darker ethnicity, shall we say? And they've tried to keep her hair red. I just think, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? This is just virtue signaling. It literally is virtue signaling. And again, they're trying to take away the male gaze by masking the female physique,
shape of the body. Yeah.
Totally just make it straight down from her head to her feet, and that's it. There's no variation, there's no features, there's nothing, so everything that comic book readers love to see in a character, whether it male or female, they've completely taken away. So people are going to be sitting there watching thinking, is this one of those cheesy Supergirl type shows, the Batwoman show? Is this just like Batwoman all over again?
You have to wonder. I mean, Leslie Grace, it says here, is she was born in 1995, so she's not that old. 26. How old? 26, 27. And she's primarily a singer and songwriter, Rabbi, but she's done some acting and has received 3 Latin Grammy Award nominations. There are different Latin Grammy Awards.
I mean, honestly, they had to look for the only not hot Latino in the world.
She's not really sexy, is she? I've seen some other pictures of her.
Generally speaking, Latin women are super, super, super sexy, right? What the hell, right? Again, I feel like I'm looking at a little boy, right?
You know what, right? Do you know what, guys? Seriously, right? I can't, now that we're seeing the evidence of what's going on, I still do not understand the logic of people that say woke in TV shows do not exist.
Yeah.
How could you not say that when there's an abundance of evidence right across the board?
They're lying. They're just lying to you.
Some people actually can't see it. Like my brother, for instance, he can't see it. He's like, they look, she looks great, blah blah blah. Oh, your son, this is great, this is that. But how could you not see it? I guess once you see it, you can't see it, right? You can't unsee it.
It's called being red-pilled, isn't it? Yeah.
The precedent that they've set for this is derived from a version of the Batwoman character that debuted. Well, a look for Barbara Gordon that first appeared in 2014 in the comics when they gave her a redesign. Now, I really enjoyed this version of the character, and I loved the costume in print. I thought it worked really, really well. But it's still, and they did replace. If you look at the diagram there, this is the original concept design. They did make a conscious effort there. You can see on the right, to not have a very sort of booby spandex costume and to give her a more, it's kind of like a riot vest, but you can still see that there is a lift there. She has a chest. She's still, Barbara Gordon, I think, was meant to be around 1920. So they did kind of youth the character a little bit, because in the previous DC universe, before the big sort of reboot, the big New 52 reboot, obviously Barbara Gordon had aged. She'd been put in a wheelchair. The character had been through so much, so they youthed the character for this version, and I think that's what they're going back to.
So we're allowed to have Henry Cavill with a huge chest, handsome as hell. Women are allowed to fancy him, but we're not allowed to have a Batgirl that men can fancy. This is ridiculous. And what is she wearing on her feet there? You know what? Right, just seriously, just take those pictures away. They really annoy me. Martins. They really do.
Yeah,
seriously, Doc freaking Martins. Really.
I have revised the character since. So here's a look at Batgirl history. So the character from when she originally appeared. I mean, Batgirl originally appeared, I think, in the 1950s, but then she was sort of distanced from the comics. Made a bit of a comeback in the early 70s with a drastic redesign as part of Detective Comics when they started to build the Bat family. And the most recent reinterpretation of the character has kind of taken that look that we've just seen in there with the Doc Martens, but sort of brought her femininity back. So this is a comparison between Batgirl when she first appeared
I like that.
and how she looks now. So they've sort of restored the sexiness, I feel, Matt. What do you think?
Yeah, flowing red hair.
Yeah.
The physique's perfect. It kind of the outfit looks at the same time tactical, but also superhero as well.
Best of both worlds.
I think they've got the balance perfect there. Yeah. What I didn't like on the previous one, the sort of the girly, teeny kind of Batgirl, was when they debuted her. I think it was the first issue she was in. It was a picture of her taking a selfie in the mirror.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just thought, how is that in any way true to a Batman type character when they should be hiding in the shadows? They shouldn't want to be seen. They shouldn't be posting photos of themselves on social media. It goes against everything the Batman kind of, the Batman mythos would promote. And this looks a lot more in line with that kind of thing. I mean, she's smiling, I guess, but this doesn't look like a typical sort of selfie obsessed girly girl that's just going to be posing in front of bound up criminals.
But it has to be accepted that DC Comics have a lot of problems at the moment. They're not getting a great deal right, but sometimes they do get a redesign right. Sometimes,
something makes its way through, doesn't it? And I think this, at least on the face value, this looks good. Yeah.
But she's not Latin American. She is definitely Caucasian in the comics there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, why? What? I mean, we understand why they're changing it because of this stupid woke rubbish that they're sticking into all our stuff. But this is the question again. I keep saying this to people out there: how can you not see this stuff? How can you not? And when you do see it, why are you supporting it if you're against it?
Yeah.
There's always my questions. Always.
I think everybody's got to have their. I think you've got to have your line in the sand as an individual, haven't you, Rabbi? Where you stop buying that comic book when when Dan Slott turns Amazing Spider-Man to an unreadable mess. Then you can only stick with the comic buying habits for so long.
It's not just Spider-Man. It says most things is unreadable mess. But Mega Geek's. I'm getting my non-balloons mixed up. Mega Geek, there. Mega Geek's question is a good one. How do people not see it? I think the answer is this: people don't like to see their cages, right? People don't like to see their loops that they're trapped in. People want to think they're free in three things, and they really don't want to be free. It's a real dichotomy. People really, really want to be taken care of, more so in this age than I think for a long time, right? They really want. That's why socialism, I think, is so appealing.
It's not free. I don't think it's freedom. I don't think it's freedom that frightens people, Rabbi. I think it's the burden of responsibility for their own actions, their own choices in life.
Non-conformity scares the crap out of people.
It's a shame. It's absolutely a shame. But what they're doing to some of the stuff now, all I'm looking forward to is people making stuff that's beyond TV and beyond the Hollywood system, something that I can get my teeth into now. And I'm looking high and low for this stuff. Can't find anything yet, but I hope I could in the future.
Go next level.
Exactly.
I mean, the major studios, their answer seems more of what we have gone to see before, and not just more of it as in more things in production, but in screen minutes too. So just before we leave the DC universe, I wonder if you'd seen this. We've got a new poster this week for the Batman. It's out on March the 4th. You'll probably know I am mega hyped for this. I love Matt Reeves. I'm really excited by Robert Pattinson. I love the look of everything concerning this film. But I have heard something this week which just made me throw my head back in despair. Apparently, and they're boasting about this, Rabbi, this is going to be the longest Batman film ever put in a cinema. It's going to clock in at 175 minutes.
Oh, God, yeah, I heard that.
Why are you doing this to us? Why?
You know what? Can you just release it straight to HBO Max so I don't have to go to the sodding cinema? Just release it straight to Max.
I advise everybody not to get one of those huge Cokes before you go in. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble.
This is it. My bladder can't take 3 hours sat down in front of a film map, but they keep doing it to us, don't they?
5 minutes intermission.
I mean, I know that it didn't actually. I know that it didn't actually go to the cinema, Matt, but Zack Snyder's Justice League, before it was taken and given to somebody else, that was always going to clock in at 4 hours. That didn't make it to the cinema, but Avengers Endgame did. That was 181 minutes. And what else have we got? Yeah, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. That's a few years ago now. That was 165 minutes. But No Time to Die, that was a really long film. That was nearly 3 hours too. What is it with all this, Matt?
And they're all bad.
I think they
is it
can't
just
edit.
are they just really undisciplined with these movies? What do you think it is?
I think a lot of it's undisciplined with editing. They can't decide what to take out and what to keep in, so they just keep it all in. I think Peter Jackson was an exception because they were just the book's just huge and you can't edit stuff out. I mean, he did edit stuff out, but it was put back in on the home versions, which were all out. But as far as I think they should, if they're going to release films like this long, I mean, okay, fair enough, but have an intermission. Give people like a 10-15 minute break or something, so they can skip out, go to the drink, and not miss any of it.
Or you know what? If it's a 3-hour movie, they should pad it to a 4-hour movie or 3.5-hour movie, break it into 2, and release it with like a month in between. You release part 1, and
that's what I do.
Release part 2.
It's good. Yeah.
Sometimes in the past,
I would see an hour and a half movie than a 3-hour movie. I will pay twice to see an hour and a half movie than one 3-hour movie.
Rabbi, I would too, but when you look back through history, when they have done that, people complained when they cut that last Harry Potter book into 2 films, didn't they? So
I should have burned that last Harry Potter
movie.
Last
Harry Potter book should have had half it edited out.
But you know what I'm saying?
Most of that Harry Potter book was wandering in the bloody forest. I mean, like cut the forest shit out, and then you got one movie.
Look, in the old days, right? They used to have editors, really good editors. I mean, the person that edited Jaws, for instance, it was a woman, and she edited that film. And she put that film together as that film was freaking tight, man. Yeah. The editing. Yeah. So you didn't get bored in that film. And also she did some really creative choices and stuff. And Spielberg to this day says that if it wasn't for her, I think her name was Phil something, I can't remember. If it wasn't for her, that movie would never have worked. You see, today now they have too much control over the actual end product. The director, the producer and stuff. Like, yes, they should have some kind of control, but the directors need to step back as well, because they're in the circle. They can't see out the circle. If you're too involved in the film, you need to step back and let the editor tell you how it should be edited and stuff like that, and come to some conclusion. I get the feeling that Matt Reeves is, going, right, it's my way or the highway. And that's why it's 3 hours long, I reckon.
His Planet of the Apes films were quite tight, though, from what I remember.
They were,
weren't they? They were disciplined.
I do think this is his version of Citizen Kane, right? I think this is his magnus opus. Right? No, I really do. I really think he holds this in high esteem for his work. I don't know. It's made for the streaming age, though, isn't it?
You have to wonder if they're thinking more of its extended life on HBO Max than they are at the time in the cinema. In which case, how do they care about the ticket buyer now? You do have to wonder that.
Do you know the one thing I've noticed about modern films today is that the photography is really brilliant. The reason why the photography is really brilliant in films is because they're shooting on digital, and there's so much you can do if you shoot in log. There's so much you can do in post, whatever, and stuff like. If you look at the old films, you look at the first Batman, the Tim Burton first Batman movie. Photography was good, but no way is it as polished as these big movies like Dune and stuff like that, because they can add so much in post and stuff like that, and somehow it just makes it seem you can't connect to it. When I watch, say, Batman Returns, there's a subconscious thing that everything on the screen is real, and the lighting is real and stuff like that. But when you watch Dune, as I was saying to you last time, Dan, when I was watching Dune, there was something that was stopping me from connecting to it, and I reckon it was all the CGI that was in the film. And it's probably going to be the same thing with this film as well. I hope they don't plaster it with CGI right across the board. I hope a lot of it is physical. Do you know what I mean?
I'm getting the impression that it will have that kind of grayness. I mean, we're looking at a picture now. This is the Batman, which has been sort of even more like a muscle car than we've seen it in the last few years. All that grit and grime and
worst design ever.
well, we haven't really seen it with the lights up, have we? I mean, I absolutely love it. I really
Wacky Races. Wacky Races. That's where that car belongs in.
It is a bit, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose so. Or Hot Wheels. It'll make a great Hot Wheels set, won't it, Rabbi? Did your kids used to play with Hot Wheels cars, Rabbi?
Yes, they did actually. Although I used to play with them more than they did.
Yeah, same here, mate. Same here.
Out of all of them, I still think the best Batmobile design is the Michael Keaton one.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably is. Have you got a favourite, Matt? Because they have changed them up over the years consistently, haven't they?
Yeah, I thought the Michael Keaton one was just a masterwork. I mean, we'd all got used to the '60s TV series one. It was the only one that really most people knew, wasn't it?
Oh, that is beautiful, though.
And it's beautiful, but a little bit, because the series was camp and it kind of carried over the kind of the camp connotations with it. Beautiful car though, but then when we saw the Burton one, oh my god, everyone's just like, whoa, look at this thing, So it kind of, they were thinking outside the box with design. And after that, a few years later, in the comic book Judgment on Gotham, which was the Judge Dredd crossover, artist Simon Bisley.
That was great. Yes,
it was amazing. It had a great.
I was looking at that a few
great
months
story,
ago.
great humor, great violence, great character designs. Everything when it was perfect. I thoroughly recommend everyone track it down and check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah.
But the Batmobile design in that, oh my god, the Batmobile design in that. If you've never seen it, look it up, Google it. That's how the Batmobile should look, and I've never seen one better since. It looks ridiculous, but my god, it takes the Tim Burton one and kind of like turns it up to 11.
Does.
And adds like this really evil kind of like killer kind of style to it, and that's what they should be using. But you're absolutely right about the Burton one. Fantastic screen version, absolutely.
I can't think of the. I liked the Tumblr in the Christopher Nolan film.
It was all right, yeah.
I always got the impression that it was deliberately like a prototype of something, and that we were gradually going to work our way to something else. And then, of course, when we saw the next real development of it, when Ben Affleck was driving it, that was sort of even more brutal in many respects. This design, this sort of Charger, this muscle car, is where I felt that the Christopher Nolan design was going. This would be the natural destination for it.
It's a shame, really, because the Ben Affleck's Batman, you could see there was huge potential with that character. But as I mean, I love the scene where he's in the bat plane and Alfred says, "They're on the first floor, but I'll drop you off on the second floor." And he jumps out of it, and he just smashes through the window. That's so good, it's so good. It's a shame the film was shit, but that was so good.
I like the movie. I have to tell you,
I loved it.
I thought it was I thought it was the most screen accurate Batman we've ever seen.
Yeah,
I think Affleck still looks the tits in that costume. He looks the way he moves, the way he speaks in Batman vs Superman in particular, and in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah, I would have watched. I would have watched the whole set of them. Matt.
I've got to say, my favorite. I think the fans are doing the best work. My favorite version of Screen Batman, not officially, obviously, because it hasn't been released in any paid-for media, but the best versions I've seen on screen were from the most recent "Dying Is Easy" fan-made movie from Bat in the Sun. Incredible. That was easily trumped anything I've seen in the films or TV series.
Have you got a link? Well, Matt, I would ask Matt if you've got a link for that. If you can send that to me later on, I'll pop it in the description of this video because I haven't seen it in a long time, and I think people, if you haven't seen it, would love it.
I tell you what was a really good Batman design in the computer games. Yeah, they had because that looked real. Because there was a scene in it where he puts the costume on. And he has all these armored things, and when he moves his arm, you can see the armor separating. So so you know why his arm is. He can move his arm and stuff like that. And he looked like some kind of futuristic soldier, but still Batman. And that's where they should have went with the costume, in my opinion, because it makes so much sense. Because in the '60s, he was wearing spandex, but as the evolution of Batman went on, it's gotten violenter. I understand why he's wearing an armor now. Do you know what I mean? An armor that's super flexible and stuff like that. So that's where they should have went. But
there was another screen version as well that I was going to mention. It was Batman Dead End, where they've got the kind of the Predator.
That was the best one.
As well. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
I know the guy that made that. I know the guy that made that, and he was saying to me that when he first made it, he didn't think anyone would notice it because it was before the advent of a real internet stuff. And he went to one of the Comic-Con things and he saw this huge queue and he asked someone, what are they queuing up for? They were queuing up for his film. He didn't even know it was that popular. So there you go.
Awesome.
Really cool. So the Batman is out at the beginning of March. I can't wait. I'll be there. I'll be reviewing it at some point somewhere. Look out for that. I don't know who else is in for it. I think we could start a petition to try and get it cut into two, but I think we could fall on deaf ears. Ian's in after all. Looking forward to that. And that's time, I think, Ian, to pass this one over to you, because I wanted to speak for a little while about one particular figure in the entertainment industry who passed away a few weeks ago. We talked about it a little, and you were so eloquent in describing this guy and his contribution. I thought I'd pass this over to you and ask you about Sidney Pottier, who died a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, this guy really did open the door for black actors. He really did. And, you know, when they talk about black actors, you know, black actors vary in shades of skin tone. Okay, right. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Sidney Pottier, I mean, you know, no disrespect to him or anything like that. He was black, you know, in color of his skin and who he was. Okay. And this guy his acting was so natural. Any film you see him in, you believe anything that he does, right? And every actor from Denzel Washington to Morgan Freeman always says that if it wasn't for this guy, they would never have attempted being an actor at all. And the guy was a director as well, and he was a writer. And him and Crosby, I hate to mention the name, they had a long run of comedy films in the 70s, which...
Yeah, I didn't know that until I went to research them a little when we were talking.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, as I said, I take my hat off to him. My dad loved him. My mum loved him. You know, Look Who's Coming to Dinner. In fact, my mum was only watching a couple of days ago. I can't remember the name of the film where he plays someone that builds a place for the nuns. It's a very famous film. He won an Oscar for it. And it was on... I think it was on... London Lights or something like that, a really small channel, and it's a black and white movie. And my mum was just, you know, loved it. So I'll take my hat off to him if I had one. You know,
Sidney,
God bless him.
I had to go and look him up because I wasn't quite sure about what I'd seen him in and when. When I was a kid, I remember my mother telling me how good To Sir With Love was.
Yeah, fantastic.
From the mid-60s time. But it's apparently, so yes, Sidney Pottier was born in February 1927 and passed away on January the 6th of this year. He was from the Bahamas, but he's listed as an American actor, film director, and a diplomat. And as you said, in 1963, he was the very first black actor and the first Bahamian to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. He received 2 competitive Golden Globe Awards, a competitive British Academy of Film and Television Awards. Well, that's the old the BAFTAs, and as one of he's seen as, I suppose, being born when he was and starting to break through when he did. He's considered one of the last major stars from the golden age of cinema. His breakout film was the 1958 film, The Defiant Ones, where he co-starred with Tony Curtis, wasn't it, Ian? And there was both of them. They were so what's the word? Believable.
Yeah.
In their roles. The Academy Awards that year, it was sort of a 2-horse race between both those actors. They both got nominations, and it's a film now that gets repeated a lot on places like Turner Classic Movies and things. But it very much set him on this path, as you say, where he became not just a full actor, but somebody who tried pretty much everything, genres, and roles in front of and behind the camera. It's kind of been inspirational to a generation of people, whatever ethnicity they were, but I suppose particularly for black people.
I remember my dad saying to me, because it was on BBC Two, Heat of the Night, and my dad said to me, and I think I was only 15. He said, "You should watch this film, and you should watch this film." And my dad doesn't let me stay up late, and that film was on, and he let me stay up to watch the film. I must admit, I didn't get it because I was too young at the time. But then when I watched it, when I was older, you don't realize how great that film was in the heat of the night. It addressed a lot of things. It addressed racism. It addressed. In fact, the best thing about this film is that there's one scene in the film where Sidney Poitier's character shows he's just as racist as the white people, one bit in that film, which is bloody huge as far as I'm concerned. You know, so usually it's one-sided when they talk about racism and a black person's involved. It's usually one-sided, but in this film they have that scene in it where he's even Rod Steiger says to him, you know, my God, you're just as bad as the rest of us, aren't you? You know, and he realizes what he said. So that film, to me, I'll always remember Sidney Poitier. The Heat of Night will always remind me of him. And you know what? Sidney Poitier meant a lot to a lot of people of color. It's just that I'm sorry to say that people of lesser color don't realize what Sidney Poitier meant to them, especially the old generation. So, as I said, I hope he's in heaven looking down and laughing. So, because he did help a lot of people directly and indirectly, if you know what I mean. So, there you go.
Yeah, I've seen Sneakers from the early 90s. You know, that was the last film that I remember him being in, really, where I knew it was a big deal that he was in it. You know, I remember his component part of it. But yeah, there's a list of credits of movies that I've never seen. Things that he was a part of. He directed Stir Crazy Rabbi. Loved that film when I was a kid. I had no idea he directed it. So yeah, I mean,
I know I didn't direct that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
think he directed Hanky Panky as well, didn't he? Hanky Panky directed. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Hanky Panky listed here. Never seen that either. Yeah. But I'm certainly going to go back, and I've seen the Defiant ones, but again, it's been a long time. And I think sometimes though, Matt, when talents pass away, be they actors or pop stars or anything like that. Same with Meatloaf. We lost Meatloaf this week, the rock star and actor, and you find yourself racing to the playlist. It's a pity that sometimes we've got to lose these people before we celebrate them in life.
It's sad, isn't it? It's usually the way with a lot of celebrities, unfortunately. Especially when they've kind of not gone into retirement, but they've just not been in the public eye for a long time, whether they've not wanted to or they've not been able to or whatever. And then when they actually do pass away and we get all the tributes, it gets it's really sort of a sad situation when there's kind of a resurgence in attraction to their work again and a prominence in their work, but it kind of a slight little sort of burn at the end of their career, and then it goes away again, and everyone just stops talking about them, and it's a real shame. Like you say, a lot of these people have so much talent that they just should never go away from the public eye, and Sidney Poitier is definitely one of them from his back catalogue. You know, you can't deny this absolutely incredible line of work that he's done, and I didn't know about him at all until I saw him in Sneakers all those years ago. And you know, I couldn't believe that, you know, Dan Aykroyd was in that film as well. I've completely forgotten about that.
I remember my dad dragged me to the cinema because Deadly Pursuit came out. So Sidney Poitier disappeared from the screen for a very long time. Then my dad heard that he was in this film called Deadly Pursuit with Barringer. And so he was like, Ian, we're going to go and see this film. Because my dad doesn't normally go to the cinema. And I was like, well, what's this one about? Because it's got Sidney Poitier in it. I said, oh, okay. So we went to see it, and it was a good film. So it's because he's back. Do you know what I mean? I think did he make that before Sneakers? I can't remember. Or after.
Yes, a couple of years before. It was the late 80s. It was released under a different name here than in the States. I did make a note of that, and I've mislaid it. So people who don't know what that is, you might have to go and look it up. Yeah, it's got a couple of different names. I think Deadly Pursuit. What was it called over here, Ian, again?
I think it was called Deadly Pursuit over here, but I'm not really sure what it was called in the States.
I think it was called something like Hunting Ground or something like that. It was something very similar, something a little bland. But I'm certainly. I think I'm going to go and track down the Defiant ones. Certainly, because I'm watching a lot of old movies at the moment. You know, I've just got hold of, I mentioned the other day, Brief Encounter on DVD. Yeah. I'm trying to sort of watch movies that I have either never seen before or haven't seen for years and tick them off. Tick them off on the old list of movies to watch before.
But just on this subject slightly, right? So Rabbi, right? What is the actor that because like Sidney Poitier to us, right, to black people is basically one of those people that actually opened the gates for it. What about Jewish people? What is the Jewish star that I want to compare them both. Do you know what I mean? Could you name one Jewish star? Is it Woody Allen? Is it I don't know. Is it there must be one, surely. There's always been
every age has had their little handful of Jews. Yeah. I mean, like the Jews because Jews controlled Hollywood from the beginning. Yeah. I mean, there was Jews invested in it. So, you know, in the 50s, they were very nervous about having Jewish stars, right? But I think by the time you hit 60s, let's say Woody Allen. Woody Allen, I guess, will be your break.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he basically set the template as, I guess so. So Woody Allen to Seinfeld, who will be in the middle? Gene Wilder. Woody Allen to Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder, of course.
Gene Wilder went to rabbinic seminary. Have you ever seen the Frisco Kid? They have him praying in the morning.
Yes.
All that is accurate. He did that properly. I'm quite impressed with.
Gene Wilder walked away from films, didn't he? He walked away because he thought the films were going astray, and he couldn't understand what they were doing with films.
The film industry in general, or just the films that he was being offered?
Film industry in general. Plus, his wife died, and he was grieving, and he just couldn't get back into movies at one point. And I love Gene Wilder. Yes, he was married to Gilda. Yeah, he was.
Right.
There's Mel Brooks as well, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, Mel Brooks, of course. Mel
Brooks.
Mel Brooks as far as I'm concerned, he's a genius man.
No comment. No comment. Don't get me started on Blazing Saddles. Good
Remember
God.
Blazing Saddles?
Oh my God.
Right. I
don't think I've ever done such a rant about a film ever. But that's. I recently saw my first. I'm going to count it as my first Woody Allen film because I had seen films like when I was a kid, Hannah and her Sisters and all that before I really knew what any of them were about. I recently saw my first Woody Allen film and I really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't think I would. You would have asked me that. I walked right into that. I've forgotten what it was called now, but it was his very first film. It had got Mia Farrow in it, and they played a couple who were engaged. And I wanted to start watching his film.
Take the money and run.
Probably.
I think it was.
Take the money and run.
It was absolutely brilliant. And I thought, okay, now I want to see Annie Hall and all this other. I didn't want to just go straight to one of the really big films that everybody loves and talks about. Because I think if you start with the best thing that somebody ever made, the only way he's down from there, I'd rather pick something mid-tier. So, but I found this movie, I watched it, and I really, really liked it. And I'm going to start ticking off some of the movies on that list.
Listen, I'm going to give you a checklist of Woody Allen movies. Okay,
Sleeper,
right? You start. Okay, there. Basically, you have to go chronology. Yeah, so you go Take the Money and Run, Sleeper. Love and Death. Love and Death is hilarious. Because that's really worth watching. But then you get into Annie Hall. And Manhattan is
Manhattan's great.
Manhattan's really mesmerizing. Go. Am I frozen?
A bit.
You're
cracking
out a little here.
Right. Hannah. Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Hannah and her Sisters.
That's your package. Okay. After that, get it.
The essential Woody. Paul Murray is watching in the chat and says, "Take the Money and Run." It's a great film. The Escape from Prison is great. Love and Death, Dan. Jude chips in here with What Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Misdemeanor,
according to Carol.
Sorry, what's that film?
100% his best movie.
Rabbi, what's that film in it where he was queuing up to see a movie? And they were talking about the movie, and they were saying that this critic would never ever like this film. And he pulls the critic out of the side of the room, and he goes, "What do you think?"
Right.
So funny.
That was Annie Hall. Yeah. You have no understanding of my work.
You're going to have to make a note of these. I think Sleeper and Crimes and Misdemeanors are going to have to. They're going to have to get a look. As is the Defiant ones. I'm going to go back to Sneakers as well. I just want to say once again, rest in peace, Sidney
Pottier. Oh my gosh!
And a hell of a career, a hell of a life. The man was, he lived a very, very long life. And as you said, Matt, people disappear from the spotlight for any one of a number of reasons. From what I can gather, Sidney Pottier had a very nice, very comfortable, and very hot retirement. Bless his heart.
Yeah, bless him. Yeah.
We haven't really mentioned Star Wars yet on the stream, so I think before we depart, we should look back to Star Wars, but not that Star Wars, Ian. I think we're all talking about Boba Fett, and not even proper Star Wars, Matt. I want your opinion on this in particular, because there's this project, which all we have at the moment is that it's coming soon to Netflix. You know how vague they are about a lot of things. It's called Rebel Moon. And it's going to be directed by Zack Snyder. And this is concept art from Rebel Moon. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning it in the same breath as Star Wars is because it was Zack Snyder's project that he pitched to Disney back in 2012 when they first when they first bought Star Wars. And apparently it's inspired partly by the original Star Wars movies and things like Akira Kurosawa's films. And the story was originally set within the Star Wars universe. They turned him down. He obviously entered into that relationship with Warner Brothers instead. And he's sort of kept the script, kept the story in his back pocket. And it's now going to be made with Netflix, I think, because he's done Army of the Dead recently for Netflix, hasn't he? A couple of things there.
Yeah, done too,
so Rebel Moon has found a home there on Netflix. It says here, I've got a quick blurb. It says that Rebel Moon centers on a peaceful colony on the edge of a galaxy being threatened by armies of a tyrannical regent named Belisarius. A desperate people dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from all the neighboring planets to help them make a stand. So, Matt, as a big Star Wars guy, what do you feel about this? Do you think that us not getting a Zack Snyder Star Wars movie is something that was ridiculous to pass up? What do you feel about this project? Is this actually probably the best case scenario to come out of it with? Moving this away from Disney, might this be the best Star Wars film ever made?
You covered a lot of good things there, Dan. I'd have to agree with pretty much all of them. I didn't know about this until you just mentioned it. This has completely gone under my radar, but as you were explaining it, I was getting kind of excited and thinking like, wow, this could sound like a genuinely good sci-fi epic, you know, if it's a single movie. And if it's obviously originally intended to be Star Wars, then its foot is in the right direction as far as entertainment, sci-fi, fun, movies go. And not sort of, hyper real, hard sci-fi or something that's too adult orientated. You know, I think there's a distinct lack of bubblegum kind of sci-fi action out there that can be appreciated by all ages. Because I think Dune's a bit cerebral and a bit too adult for a lot of audiences. And I think this might be able to cover that gap. Obviously, we're not going to get lightsabers, we're not going to get Jedi, but that doesn't mean to say it wouldn't be a great movie. I mean, other sci-fi can still be great without lightsabers and Jedi. Just look at I absolutely adore the Battlestar Galactica TV series, the remake from the early 2000s, and I just adored all of that. So they can, in the right creative hands and the right writers, they can still create something great. I'm not the hugest fan in the world of Zack Snyder, but he can do great things. So, I'm across.
Is it Star Wars?
He can only make something better than what Disney has done, to be honest with you, as far as sci-fi goes. So
it's not Star Wars.
It's not Star Wars. It's a Star Wars-like project. It was originally going to be Star Wars, but because it got rejected, he's obviously set about creating his own project with it, and obviously altered things. Probably the best way to go. If he believes in it that much, then why not? I'll be watching this with a definite keen eye.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but I'm obviously hesitant because I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I shall be watching it through to completion, and I might even give it a shot when it comes out. So, yeah, thanks for the info on this, Dan. I'm quite excited.
Zack Snyder is a name that conjures up a certain brand of product, isn't he, Rabbi? And he's by no means an assurance of quality, but when he gets it right, he really does get it right, doesn't he?
He gets it right. Even when he gets it wrong, it's something like Sucker Punch, where the story was just awful.
Girls were good, though.
Beautiful.
The girls were good.
No, I mean, it looked beautiful. So I didn't know about this either. This is exactly what I like, right? When you take something the original, something that inspired you, and made something new. So I love the story with this, as you described it. It sounds like something that Star Wars would have been. I mean, it's a great idea. I'm really excited for it. And I like that it's going to be lower budget as well. If there's going to be the same sort of budget as Army of Dead, I love that. That was great for me. I don't need more than that. If you go and watch something like Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, you see it's got like a TV budget of today, lower than a TV budget of today, quite frankly. It's so this looks great. I'm excited for it.
Looks good, doesn't it? I mean, it is definitely copying the story of the was it Kurosawa? Definitely, since you've read that.
Yeah.
And also, remember, Zach, as far as I was concerned, Zach's Watchmen I thought was really good.
Oh, I enjoyed that. Yeah. I think that was
good. Did I. It's a mixed reception to the idea in the chat. There's a degree of cynicism. Hope for the best, expect the worst.
That was the line in was that a line in Sucker Punch? I think it was a line from Sucker Punch. I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And you do wonder, looking back over that premise, obviously he kept this story to himself or in a file somewhere. Presumably there was a script or a treatment, at least. It must have been quite well developed. But you do wonder how much of that may have inspired them to make Rogue One. Because that's very Kurosawa as well, isn't it, Ian?
Mm-hmm. Who knows? As I said, I think Disney's in trouble, and so is Marvel. They're going down the wrong routes, and they'll realise they're going down the wrong routes when their films don't make as much money. I think they're realising it now, but they're still arrogant. And if this gets big, then and a lot of people know that this was originally for Star Wars, they're gonna get a lot of backlash, aren't they? So. Maybe they're hoping this will be crap. I don't know. But
you could be right. You could be right. If you haven't already, please like the video, particularly if you've been here this long. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more of us talking live about geeky pop culture in movies, TV, comics, and whatever else we can sort of drag out, really. And hit the little cloister bell so you get the notifications with whatever we put out next, whether it's a live stream or a podcast, however long we ramble on. We don't miss it, do you? Hit the like, subscribe, and share us along to the other geeks in your life. Come and join us in the live chat or leave us a comment. The activity on this channel has been going, I'm going to use the expression, through the roof. It really has gone through the roof over the last few weeks. So much to the point, Rabbi, that I have to think, oh God, I haven't answered my comments, which is exactly what you warned me about 4 or 5 months ago. Yes, but I really do enjoy reading them. Love the interaction. Please keep that coming. Rabbi, it's going to be a busy week. I know you're a couple of days ahead with the videos, but give people a sneak preview. What are they to look out for from you over the next few days? What have you got coming?
Okay, tomorrow I may be doing it live. I'm probably doing it live. I haven't decided yet. I want to do a deep dive into season 22 of Doctor Who. That's my era of Doctor Who. That's pink spandex Perry and blue spandex Perry. It doesn't get much better than that.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't. No,
it doesn't.
It's a great season. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go through each story. We're going to review each story. We're going to look at the DVD trailers that came out. I'm going to go through all the extras that already existed, and we're going to go through the new ones that they're making. I'm really excited. So,
they did a trailer, didn't they, with Perry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to watch the trailer, the full thing.
She didn't die then.
2-hour show. I might as well do it as live tomorrow.
She didn't die then.
Well,
Perry,
Ian, you and I will be talking. You better find out and watch it, Ian, because I haven't seen it yet either. Because we'll be talking about it on Type 40 Live on Thursday as well. There's also your comics as well, isn't there, Rabbi, and the Substack stuff. So you want to give people the pitch for that?
Yeah. In fact, go and look at my Twitter. I just dropped a trailer for Crown of the Empire. That's my new book. It's coming out this month. This month's January. It's basically imagine a really cool 90s. Imagine Zulu, the movie Zulu, set on Mars. It's essentially what it is. Okay.
The trailer is fantastic.
The Zulus are now aliens.
There's an partially animated trailer. That's yourself and Problem Being and Dr. Alex.
No. I did the artwork. Problem Being did it all himself. It's freaking incredible. I mean, it's insanely, it's insane how good it is. So I just put it on my Twitter, but I'm pushing it as of tomorrow. I got all the marketing materials in place. I'm pushing it and we're dropping it this month. So yeah, sign up to my Substack. I put out a ton of comics. You get notifications of all the videos that go out. You comment on them. It's like my Patreon. It's free unless you go to the pay level, which is $5 a month. If you want to join that, I ain't gonna stop you.
Matt, I know you've got several projects in development, most of which you can't actually talk about. But if people want to hear and see more from you, where can they find you? Are you on social media, for those who don't know?
I am on. I'm on Twitter. I am on Minds, and I'm also on Locals as well. I'm trying to get backups to Twitter because in a not too distant future, I'm probably going to get away from that platform since everyone seems to hate it. I'm also on Instagram as well. I've got a few accounts on there because because Zuckerberg's corporation doesn't like some of the things I have to say. So I've got backups just in case they decide to cancel me. But yeah, I've got I've got an artwork project going on at the moment with loads of digital art that I'm thinking of getting online and selling and setting up an online gallery for. And also Star Wars novel in the works, and a few other bits and bobs. But yeah, that's me really.
Absolutely awesome. And Ian, do you want to do the plug for the channel again?
As I said, I've got a web series called Rebecca Gold. You just type in Rebecca Gold into YouTube, you'll be able to find it. It's a really good series. Watch it. It's a couple of films on my. I'm doing things. I'm making new stuff. It's coming soon. My channel hasn't really. I haven't added anything new to my channel, but you know, when you're a creator and you're making drama, it takes time. So, but I promise you, new stuff is coming. Watch this space. That's all I can say. So there you go.
Tantalizing as ever. And it's the same with this channel. You probably have noticed we've sort of had soft relaunches of various content over the last week or two. The Spacebook Listed is back with a sort of rethought format. We'll be talking about movies and TV shows most Tuesdays from now on, with a carefully selected crew of people who are experts or enthusiasts on whatever we've got coming up. And we're not going to tell you about which TV shows and movies are going to drop into that trap until the very, very last minute. But plans are afoot. We've got a list. We've got a tombola, really, full of names. And we're just going to sort of pull them out and see what happens over there. And there's all the Doctor Who content too, Type 40 and Type 40 Live. New episodes of both of those shows, the actual podcast and the live stream, arriving on the channel regularly, as pretty much as soon as we can make them. The podcast, we've just wrapped up our reviews of, oh God, that's 6 weeks, the longest 6 weeks of my life was Doctor Who Flux. Unbelievable. But the finale, our finale review with myself, Charlotte Shields, and the brilliant Kyle Wagner from the Fandom Podcast Network, that's up on the channel now, as was our Tom Baker, our big Tom Baker birthday party from the other day. Unprecedented views and comments on that so far. People really seem to have enjoyed it. We certainly did raise hell for the old boy. So yeah, keep that coming. Look out for all of that with more to follow. This is the Spacebook Live, and this is in this form, sort of wrapping up too for the time being, while we take it away and give it a bit of a respray and then bring it back. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications so you get an idea about what we're going to drop next, where and when. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you, Ian, for your company this time. I've really, really enjoyed it on a cold Sunday evening here in just outside Birmingham, the UK. Rabbi, it's been bloody horrible out there.
Is it warm over there, Rabbi?
No,
is it warm?
Freezing. No. Can't stand it. Okay, I really miss England, where you have like warm houses and wall-long radiators. I was trying to explain to my kids, like, I'm not going to be warm for 3 months. Just leave me alone, okay? It's not good. I shiver under blankets.
And thank you to everybody who's been watching along in the chat. All you have to do is to mention the fair Perry, and we have numerous comments, just like the one from Peter Harrington there. The lovely Perry. There's been several of those. And we've got lots of thank yous as well. Good night and good luck. May your God go with you there from Darren M. Thank you. Thank you all for your comments and your interaction. Please keep it coming in the comments section going on. If there's any questions or anything to add about the various things that we've talked about on this show, please keep them coming. I'm going to get that link from Matt, because that's amazing, that Batman fan film. You're not going to want to miss that. If you've never seen it, that's our weekend finished and sorted. Well, the Rabbi's week is off to a flying start. Our weekend. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Keep the comments coming. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe!
And we'll catch you again for more soon. But that's it this time. Take it easy. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye. The clock has started.